Breakdown at safety right now. How's that competition shaking out?
Well, I'd say right now we have four guys. The guy who has kind of stood out is Jay Stalker. Jay was not at the point of the start of two-a-days a starter, and he's competing to be one of the starters. So between he and Phil Campbell and Hamlin, I mean, we've got in Briggs, we've got four guys who are really fighting to start, and I can't tell you right now who that'll be. They're that close, but I would say Jay has had the last 3 or 4 days, as good a practices as anybody.
Is he at strong safety?
He is, yes, and
DeMar's
doing
free
great.
safety.
Correct. But he and Briggs, and I mean, like I said, all four guys are playing at a very high level, and it's a good competition right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing where it'll end up.
When it comes to safety position in this defense, how much of it is mental versus physical?
Well, everything's mental, but our linebackers and safeties make all the calls and get us all aligned and get us in the right coverages. So a tremendous amount of it is from a mental standpoint, but obviously you don't get out on the field unless the physical part of it is at a high level too.
I mean, there's been a lot of talk about this defense being pretty good this year. I mean, how much pressure does it put on your shoulders to actually bring it along?
Well, there's no talk in our office. We're only as good as our next game, so we'll see how that turns out every week. So if you guys are talking good things, I'm glad, but in our offices, all we talk about is the next play and the next day. So there is no pressure. The pressure is just what you put on yourself. At this point, we're just trying to play at as high a level as we possibly can.
What things are you seeing that encourages you right now?
Well, I think the kids are attacking the ball. We're getting a lot of turnovers, get a lot of interceptions, a lot of tackles for loss, and that's the kind of nature of our defense. It's an aggressive defense, and once in a while one pops, and you got to minimize the game. But the bottom line is it's an aggressive defense, and I expect them to play at an aggressive level.
Kind of piggybacking on what he said, but your cornerbacks, where are you at with them?
Our corners, well, right now we have Dane. I'm trying to think at this point. You caught me off guard at corner. Let's see. Right now we've got Dane. We've got. I'm totally blanking on who the guys are at corner right now, because we've had a rotation there that has given us a lot of depth too. But let's get back to that one. I'm still thinking about the safety issue, but I mean we're in great shape there, as far as corner, and we even have a couple young freshmen who are fighting to compete at this point. So.
Coach gave high praise to Quentin Virginis,
yeah,
and expecting a lot from him this year. What is it about him that you feel makes him such a dominant player before you played a snap this year?
Yeah, well, he's a fifth-year senior who's coming back. He was a little rusty because he didn't play last year, but, it took him a little while to get that rust off. And now, he's playing fast. He's playing as if he was a fifth-year senior, and I'm really impressed with where he's going right now. He's leading. He's a mature player, and when you have him in the middle, everybody gets relaxed because he's a confident guy, and it makes everybody confident.
When you have so many returning starters, I would assume that your expectation was that the install would go smoothly and that you would get to a pretty advanced part of what you were trying to do in camp. Do you feel like you've accomplished that?
Sure, we've got a lot of defense in, but it comes back again to basics. I talk all the time about where two-a-days is building the roots of a strong tree, and to do that, it comes back to technique, tackling, and basic football. And so we've spent a lot of time on that because, yes, we have the ability to put a lot of stuff in, but having a lot in doesn't make you a better defense. Being able to tackle, being able to get off blocks, being able to make plays is really the most important thing. So even though we have, gotten some extra stuff in, for the most part, we're still down to basics. It's really defense is basics.
1 day left to camp. How anxious are you to get this thing going?
Oh, I can't wait. And you say 1 day at camp. That's why I can't think of the corners right now, because at this point, I'm seeing all 11 positions times really 22 or 23 guys. But I'm excited to stop playing ourselves and start playing somebody else because, Kenny's an awful good quarterback. So I think he's prepared us for great things here for the future.
Do you see, you were talking about attacking
defense.
Do you think there'll be a little more blitzing this season then?
I don't think probably any more. I hope we're better in some blitzes than others. You know, there were some of our basic blitzes we probably weren't as good at last year. And I think with our players being a year older, I think they'll be better at it, and it appears that that's the case.
It's nice having all those seniors at linebacker, isn't it?
It is, it is. And, you know, the most important thing is developing depth behind them because, as you know, those are positions that get banged up pretty quickly.
Anything else for Coach?